Hello and welcome to PM Personality Profile. My name is Nana Ansakwao IV, and as you know, every Friday I come to your homes with a personality, indeed repeated on Saturday afternoons. Somebody who has a story to tell, somebody whose life is principled enough that we can take something from and emulate. And today I'm with a fine soldier and a fine gentleman, Brigadier General Nunu Mensah. He has served every single government that Ghana has ever had and is still serving government. What a story he has to tell. He witnessed the signing of the resignation of Achampo and many more. His philanthropic side, the schools he has built single-handedly, dormitories he's built single-handedly. And I'm here to talk to him, to interact with him. And I hope that by the end of our conversation, you and I will pick something from it. Folks, this is one of the interviews that I really look up to. I've heard of his name so many times, but today I get to talk to him. It's going to be interesting. Thank you very much for staying. And as I said, once a soldier, always a soldier. Now, even though, you know, personality profile, we seem to profile a person once and then that's it. We never get back to the person. However, I just know that this one show will not be enough for the amount of history and experience that my soldier is going to share with us. And maybe we may break protocol, sneak in once again to continue, but we'll get as much as we can with General Nunu Mensah. Oh yeah, haven't you heard that name? It sends shivers down the spine. Anytime we hear General Nunu Mensah is heading that unit, you think, hey, they don't mess with them all. So, General, thank you very much for talking to us.
And I thank you.
And what I want to get out of this interview, or what I want my viewers to get out, especially the up-and-coming ones, is principles in life, you know,
Yes.
positive principles
Yes.
in life. Something which I think we have lost. I don't know whether it's through modernization or westernization, but we've lost some value. And every now and then, you know, I see it in you.
Yes.
So in my conversation with you today, I hope that I will be changed and, you know, some of my viewers will also change. So, General, I'm going to go all the way to your childhood. I mean, were you born and grew
Yes.
up in Accra? Or?
No, actually I was born at Winneba.
Okay.
If you know Winneba well, I was born among fishermen. Mm-hmm. There were fishing nets all around me. And nobody at the time had any education.
Wow.
Indeed, I was the only one and the first ever from the family to ever have any education.
Whoa.
So it was quite strange that I should become educated and none of my other three brothers, two older ones, one younger one,
Okay.
was educated.
Well, it's
And
weird because you're sort of in the middle.
Yes, I was in the middle. And I don't know why all of a sudden I said I want to go to school. I told my father. It was quite strange that in the morning you go to the beach, collect fish, behaving like a fishing boys.
That was fun.
A lot of fun,
Yeah.
a lot of food, a lot of, you know, wonderful life. But to go to school was like a calling. It's like something that you must be doing because you have a duty in life. And that duty in life could not be performed without certain equipment, which is education. You have to equip. When I'm doing these things that I'm doing now, I begin to think back the things I did as a child. And I'm talking about in the late 1930s, 38, 39, early 40s. I started school in 1945, January. I mean, 70 years in 3 months' time.
Wow.
A long time ago. It's been fun all along. Of course, 70 years.
You see, General, at
Yeah.
that age, I would rather be on the boat jumping in and out of the water
Yes.
than school. That's what
I was
triggered you?
fishing and learning. I mean, I was combining both. Today, I repair my car. I'm a plumber. I'm a carpenter, electrician. In fact, I'm everything. I'm a farmer. So that I learned early in my life. My father was a fisherman, a good fisherman, a good farmer. We were trained all around. So that's the quality I grew up with. So I would go to the beach, collect my fish, come home, wash, and go to school. I'm combining both. So we learned to do many things right from the beginning. Life wasn't harsh, it was fun. Ghana population would have been about between 3 and 4 million. Winneba had there were about 3 cars in Winneba.
Wow.
The whole town. The most people were rich enough to have 3 cars. Life has changed a lot, beyond anybody's imagination. Certain changes have been good.
Did your father support you then? Because I mean, he's got 4 boys. They are helping them on the with
In
on
the
the
boat.
boat, and then
Yes,
all
sir.
of a sudden
Yes,
you,
sir. Want to go to
Mr.
school.
Tuno, want to go to school.
No, my father was somebody who had easy life,
Okay.
hard working, but didn't really bother too much. He didn't want to influence you too strongly on what you wanted
Okay.
to do. And once I was knocking the door to go to school, he had no other option but yield. And a very interesting thing happened in 1945. When my father came back from second year, where he had traveled to, I said to him, I want to go to school. All the schools in Winneba, there were 4 schools in those days: Methodist, Anglican, Catholic, and AME Zion. They were all filled. And as fate would have it, at that moment, a missionary from Basel in Switzerland came to Winneba to found a school, Basel Missionary School. That's where I entered. Wow. 7 boys and 3 girls. We were the pioneers, 1945. And it's as if all these were ordained by God. It's very, if you look at my life on, as if everything I'm doing had been mapped out to be that. It's very interesting. And that school grew to become part of the Presbyterian school in 1945. From that modest, humble beginning, I went on and on like that. Nobody ever taught me in school how to read and write, how to teach myself. Wow. Because in the family, nobody was educated. Well, you had Psalms, which you couldn't do. You had to come and scratch your head and find a solution. That made me very much independent and bold to tackle my own problems. Today, there's nothing I'll call anybody. My car wouldn't work. I would open the bonnet, take the sump, go down. I mean, I'll do everything. So I think that it's something which we should learn. We are too dependent on other people as a people. We become too dependent, and I don't like that.
So you went through the Basel Mission School.
The Basel Mission School, 1945. When you go to 1951, we had to go to Middle Form 4 in those days.
Yeah.
But the school had just begun. We didn't have any continuation program in Winneba. So there was a national, nationwide exam by the Presbyterian schools all across the country. And they had 2 wonderful schools. One was Sabah Boys Boarding School, Sabah Girls Boarding School. And whether you know Sabah, but a fantastic place. A small town is also growing. And then you had the Ekropong Boys School and a few others. So the top ones were selected nationwide, and they went to the Sabah Presbyterian Boarding School. A fantastic boarding school. At the age of 13,
Wow.
I left home to go to live in the jungle. It's a very hard thing to do because Winneba was developed long ago. Winneba was really, had everything, flowing water, light, everything. Then you go into a village where you have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, walk 2 miles in and 2 miles out. 2 miles out, 2 miles in, to carry a bucket of water on your head.
Wow.
Every morning without shoes in the jungle. You didn't worry about snakes. I mean, it was quite strange, but it made you very brave, very strong, very tough. So if I'm tough today, it was that modest beginning which built me up to become self-confident, become who I am today. So for that modest beginning, it went on and on and on and on and on. So that if you look at it today, your generation and my generation is a huge difference. We were very tough. You know, Senya Breku, almost between Winneba and Accra. We walked one day from Winneba and walked back. In those days, I was a little boy, but we were very tough. Today you call it child abuse, child molestation. It was not child abuse. It was toughening you up.
But did you enjoy in Sabah? Now you've left home, you're on your own.
Now Sabah was a watershed. And today it has shaped my thinking on many issues. The atmosphere there was quite rough. Was more like you were in a prisoner of war camp. Life was very rough. Just my 13-year-old boy going to the jungle where there was no water, no power. You had to light a lantern to study.
Wow.
It was very tough. And I didn't stay for long. I left after a few months and came back to Winneba. Today, when I'm building school, people don't understand why you are doing these things. I go to a school like Agona Sabah. Yesterday I was in Mori, the vice president's hometown. The school there, which is badly set up. You want people there to go to school and sit exams with the likes of Achimota, likes of Wesley Girls, likes of Mfansipi. And yet, conditions there are so poor, so bad, so poor. No water, no running water, no power. And then you want to stay. So, what I went to in Sabah informed me about, what to do about education. Not the good schools like Achimota, but those which are also coming up. So I spend my time these days building schools. Because I want them. I don't want to go through what I went through.
We'll come back to the philanthropy side, because I know you do a lot of philanthropy in terms of building schools, which is very honorable. But when you left in Sabah, so which school did you go?
Now in Sabah, I came back to Winneba and attended the Winneba Methodist Boys Girls School. It's still there, wonderful building. Now, from my home to the school, in fact, I could hear the school bell ring. Then I put on my uniform and go to school. I mean, I could see with my eyes the school building. If you compare that today with people traveling from Tantra Hill to come to Cantonment to attend school in the traffic, it's not desirable at all. You cannot study under that kind of situation. It's terrible on the children. Terrible.
So in Winneba now you are home?
I came going to Winneba and went to this school, which was a school with a lot of competition. Winneba, I don't know whether you are aware, but those along the coast appear to be very intelligent, especially in mathematics. I don't know whether you observe this.
No.
And the reason simply is that they see the fish we eat, all the protein, sharpen your brain. What felt that? You will find that good mathematicians are always along the coast. The Jacksons, most of them. And I believe that the quality of the food we eat is critical. The fresh foods, the fish, it's wonderful. So, the school I was, you had many brilliant young men competing in the top positions. Indeed, when I was in Sabah, there were three of us, and when I had exams, either I was first, either I was second, and we were third. They thought, what have you come with juju or something to, they couldn't understand. And still, you produce some very, very good mathematicians from the coast. So I completed my school in 1951, in the Methodist School. And for 2 years, 1954, 51 I came back to Winneba for another 3 years, and 54. At the age of 17, finished the middle Form 4 in those days, middle school. And you had to look for work. I couldn't go to secondary school because your mother selling plantain, cassava in the market, your father fisherman, how do you pay your school fees? Almost impossible. So I had to go to work to save money to pay my school fees.
Wow.
I saved every peso I earned. Open an account in the post office and put the money in regularly every month. And had 70, 80 pounds. So I began I was 19 years. We're getting too old to go to secondary school. Going beard. Getting too old. So time was catching up with me. So I had to abandon the work and go to secondary school. In Winneba again. Winneba Secondary School, which today is one of the good schools we have.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was very rough. But see, you have to be determined in life. Yesterday, I was having a function, Winneba Secondary School, lectures at the British Council in the evening. And one of those students remembered, when I was in Form 5, he was in Form 1, remembered me saying something which I couldn't remember, but he said something in school. And when I came to school, the grades were always, people were getting grade 2 or grade 3. And I said, why are you not getting grade 1? So I said that I will get grade 1. And indeed, I came out of school as the first ever to achieve grade 1 in the West Africa. Before then, it was the Cambridge Exam School Certificate.
Okay. We
changed in 1969 to West Africa Exam Council. And I came out with grade 1. So the point here is that you must have determination. You must have guts to say, I want this, and get it.
Did your soldier ambition begin after Winneba Secondary School, or?
The ambition started, I have many military men in my family.
Okay.
My 2 uncles were in the Second World War, came from Burma. One of them was such a rough chap that he terrified us when we were growing up. And I had some ideas about them, but the idea was negative. They were very rough. In 1945, after the war, they came back. They were molesting everybody. They were very rough. So the impression was quite negative. But then around 57, 58, a cousin of mine who was one of the modern officers. So after independence, the Nkrumah wanted to replace the British officers with Ghanaian officers. So the numbers began to increase and really bloated in 1960-61 when we were recruited. So the idea about the military began to form. In fact, in school, 1960, there was a team from Academy here. Academy had just been opened about a few months earlier. Came to Winneba to talk to us about military life. That, serve in the military.
Okay.
They came to actually because the military had a very bad
reputation.
Yes. After the war, so they were very rough. I mean, they were drinking, they were very rough. So if you're going to go to the army, you don't talk about it. You run to do you hide because your mother will collapse and die. Your father. I mean, it was very frightening, based on the experience of the past soldiers. So these people came to the army, to the school, and lectured us about the military life. They had begun to develop some interest in the military. Although I came out with grade 1, I could pursue my success form and then university education. But I thought, look, the army life was such a wonderful thing.
After the lectures?
After. So right from the school, in June I started the exam. In October I was in the army.
I'm going to take a break here and then we'll find out what the army life, because General's got one big army life to talk about. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying. And I know you're just as interested as I am. But you know what? We are now entering the army. It's October after the examinations in school. And General, so what? You tell mom and dad I'm off to the army?
No, I didn't tell them because it was very scary at the time. When I'm in the military, then I knew that they couldn't get me back. No matter how hard they tried. So I had to inform them, that I was in the military. But how I got in was the exciting part. I left school. The result hadn't come from exam council yet, but they managed to get our result before they officially released to us.
Okay.
They knew that we had passed. I didn't know what grade I had at that time. It was then that I had a report from my headmaster, Dr. Foley at the time, at passed with grade 1. But the whole process was quite enduring. I mean, you had to go through examination at Burma Hall in Burma camp. Children young boys from all the schools in Ghana, including the Mfanzi-Pim, Achimota, and Sadal, Sinogasin, I mean the whole lot of them. Very keen competition. And very few were selected. I happened to be one of them. And then started my training in October 1960. Fortunately, the following year, September 1961, myself and 3 other boys, young boys, were selected to pursue our training in Britain.
Sandhurst.
In Sandhurst.
The best college, isn't it?
It's a fantastic place. I mean, a place that I would, it's every young man should have gone through that. It's a wonderful place.
Good discipline?
The whole place, just imagine coming out of Winneba, read about England and all these. Then suddenly you find London. I remember when we were in London, you went through by Ghana Airways, Britannia, this propeller thing. They didn't have jet planes in those days. And the plane developed some problems, so we landed in Fiumicino Airport in Rome. And they had some breakfast for us. I mean, the egg was hardly fried. I mean, like water in the plate. In the plate. What kind of egg? We cook egg. We don't pour it in the plate. I didn't even eat the food. We went into London, then landed, and it was fun. It was an experience from the plane. Summer, beautiful day. So we landed there, went to Canterbury for about 2 weeks to acclimatize, then went to Sandhurst. But the memory of Sandhurst is something that will endure with me all my life. In fact, I was there last year, celebrate 50th anniversary of our commissioning, 1963.
And a little birdie tells me that when you went there, they brought out a report, even though it'd been there 50 years.
I hardly saw my report whilst I was there. And what the British did, which I admired them, they keep records. Today, if you went there to know about me, they will give you a report everything I did, which is amazing. While they pulled a file, something I had never seen.
Whoa.
Everything I did.
They kept it.
Later I wrote to my father.
And that's like 50 years.
50 years, and it's amazing. The report they had, very frank, talking about me, and I hadn't changed at all. One report said that...
Mr. No Nonsense.
He said, I hardly spoke, but every time I spoke, it was full of wisdom. I'd be quiet in class, but when I spoke about something, it was with courage and wisdom. Then I look at myself, is that what you have been? I said, yes, of course, I have not changed. But that is the military. Military has been a wonderful life, and I believe that every young man, every young woman ought to have a taste of army life. Well, it disciplines you. It makes you a different person. You see, it doesn't change you. People
So
say
at Sandhurst, what rank were you?
no, you were a cadet, officer cadet. You were training.
Okay.
Like at Teshi.
So you've literally gone through from, rank 0 to...
Yes.
Right.
I started here 1 year in Teshi and 2 years in
Son.
Burkina. So 3 years training to become an officer. A very long period.
So after 3 years you became
3 years you were
Captain?
commissioned, appointed full lieutenant.
full lieutenant.
That's with 2 stars.
Okay.
We came to Accra. Today people go to Britain, they don't want to come back. When I finished my Accra, I think 2 days I came back. Ghana was a wonderful place. Indeed, before I went to Britain, I went to Kingsway, now Swansea Arcade.
Yeah.
Bought all my clothing here in Accra to go to Britain. That's what the shares I bought are still with me.
Whoa.
But I want them to 50 years and over. They are still there, 53 years. They are pristine as your shirt here. It shows again the quality of things in those days. Quality of life, quality of everything was to the highest order. Even the clothes, it was proper cotton. That's 53 years. And
so when you came back from London, was that 64?
I came back 63.
63.
And straight into Takoradi, where I was posted. And Takoradi, 1st Battalion, as young officer. But quickly I came to Accra and came to intelligence setup. Somehow my boss had developed some interest in me. I didn't know I could become a good intelligence officer with my record. You have to be brainy, you have to be intelligent, you have to be brave, and all those things. I possessed them. I didn't know, but that's why I possessed them. So I came to Accra, immediately went to Russia for training for 6 months, the Soviet Union those days. So I was there when Kennedy was shot, 1963,
Wow.
November 22nd. I was in Moscow. When Khrushchev came out and wept. Even though the two had been adversaries, Khrushchev wept when Kennedy died.
Right. It's a big blow to the world.
Well, I never had dinner. I couldn't eat that day. I couldn't eat. I mean, really, Kennedy was just such a force in world politics that when he died, the world literally came to a standstill. I remember the Cuban crisis, 1962, when the Soviets were positioning some missiles in Cuba. And Kennedy on television live ordered the American Navy, American Air Force to sink any Russian ship that crossed a certain margin line on the sea. And the world was on the brink of world war. But Khrushchev saw Kennedy driven this order live and then pulled back. And peace, was returned to the world.
This is 63.
This was 62 when this took place.
But 63 when
I came back to Ghana and then went to Russia 64 to train for 6 months in intelligence.
And you came back?
And I came back.
63, then 66.
Yes.
Almighty coup in Ghana.
Yes. I mean, we have had a few coups in Ghana, a few such incidents.
I'm just trying to establish, which means you've lived through all the coups in the military.
I've lived through everything since and before independence. And I've lived through, and I've been fortunate, I've been at the height of, even though I was a young officer there, I was working in Flagstaff House. So I knew Sultan Nkrumah very well. I used to work in the office there.
Okay.
So in my youthful days, I came close to power. I saw Sultan Nkrumah in close quarters. I saw him as a person.
Wow.
So I knew him as a person because of my job. And the coup then, things began to turn a little bit sour in terms of the situation. Nkrumah was actually a thorn on the flesh, of Western powers. He was leading the attack to free Africa. and they saw him as a threat. So things began to be, put obstacles in his way. Cocoa price dropped, and all kind of big things became difficult. So the military somehow.
So NLC then takes over. You're still in the army.
I was in the army, 66. I was in the army still.
And then SMC comes.
No, long before SMC. 66, and another coup, 67, where two young officers, Atta and Yabua, tried to overthrow the NLC government. But the coup was aborted. I mean, it wasn't successful. The two officers were shot at Teshi range. That was 67. Then, of course, Buiza came to. It was election, 69. The Buiza was elected. They came to the two.
You're still in the army.
Still in the army, but I was in Canada for another. Between 68 and 69, I was in Canada for 1 year. So when Dr. Buiza came into office, I was not actually in Ghana. I came to Ghana after he'd been installed as Prime Minister. And I went to teach at the Military Academy at Teshi. But then, a couple of months later, or years later, there was this other coup by a Champon government. The Buiza was overthrown. I was in Teshi still. But on all these coups, I was never involved directly. I've never been involved. I didn't part of the push. I mean, I wasn't part of it.
Okay.
But I was in a position that I knew. I was growing up in rank and in age, so I was beginning to appreciate, understand what was going on.
But you served under Achampo?
At the time, I was in the military in Achampo's time, and we had another coup.
Were you part of government, help government in any way?
I became part of the government at a later date, not immediately.
Yeah.
And that coup also brought problems for the military and as a whole. The earlier coup to overthrow Nkrumah, the military were very limited in their participation. Few officers became commissioners here and there, but the military were not fully involved in the government. There were civilian ministers, so to speak. Military, just the government, the NLC. Below that, there were civilians and a few military officers. But this time around, at Champo's time, the military were fully involved. And that was the problem we had. The rank in the army, too, was always highly treasured. You had a major, lieutenant colonel. The rank structure ensured that you paid the due respect to your senior. But then, when you appoint a young officer as a commissioner, as a minister, you had a senior officer who, by virtue of his rank, is senior to him. But then, when you met at the level of this, who is senior to who?
Yeah.
And that is something which we suffered from. There was some friction in the military because I had a major who was a minister. So we think that you should be given the respect of a minister. Yet, in the army, it's subordinate to a senior officer.
Yeah.
So when they met each other, who was senior to who? That became a problem. And that's what led to the SMC. It was not the SMC, it was the SMC 1, the SMC 2. It was internal change,
Kufu.
Exactly. But before even that, General Champo removed many of these, the Feliz and Agbos and Kwame Ba and others, because there was this problem there. And then brought senior officers to restore the military hierarchy properly. But then he himself was removed from power in 1978.
General, but you were in the room when Akufu was asking Achampon to sign and resign.
Well, I mean, you can spend the whole day there going back to what led to the palace coup of 1978.
No, I just want to find out if you witnessed that
I
meeting.
was there. I was part of it. Indeed, today I sit here as the only surviving member of the original, use the term conspirators. The original, I'm talking about General Kufu, General Kote,
IGP Akon is alive.
No, Akon was. I'm talking about the military.
Of course.
I'm talking about the planning stage. The whole idea is, you see, the military were losing favor from, I don't know whether you were aware, but there were this strikes and movement to get the military off the back of the state. And it became difficult for the military to disengage from government. But the military hierarchy felt that a time had come for us to get back to barracks. So The friction between the chairman of the SMC and the top military hierarchy.
So that was the purpose of Akufo, to come and just
Exactly. You want to come and hand over power because we're getting tired of the government. We're getting tired. And the army wanted to leave government because you're not trained in the army to run a government. You are trained to defend the country. Not a profession. And if you have to intervene for some reason, you shouldn't stay in power.
Sure.
If for some reason you have to intervene, you should not stay in power any longer than necessary. But you were in power, enjoying the power. And that was creating a lot of friction within the armed forces. So we thought, look, let's get power back and go back. But
General, sorry about him, but Acheampong, with all his faults, I think he's been dealt a very hard blow by history, because I think he did a lot, even though he has his faults.
I think I will admit, it's after Nkrumah, that period was the most successful in our history. One must pay due where it is due. Acheampong government performed very well. In fact, today, most of the things we are enjoying today were from that period. It was a part of a very short time. So that I'm not saying Acheampong government didn't achieve anything, achieved a lot.
Yeah.
But the only problem we had was the friction in the military. Which the military, Akufo and I were in boarding school in Sabah.
I see.
This school was one of the best schools and trained real, and we had beautiful officers. The army was second to none. And fantastic officers. I will mention, fantastic people. General Ferry, the Akufos and the Ankras and the Amenus and all wonderful.
Colonel Ofosu-Appiah.
Yes. Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah. He was in take 3, I was in take 2, so he was behind me.
I see.
But see, you had this beautiful thing. And we were guard against this. When you go to Sandhurst, you were trained in the sign not to interfere in politics. Don't bring army into politics and politics into the army. Separate the two. Don't join them. That's the diet we were fed with growing up and being trained. So you find the coups something difficult to reconcile with. So when the time came for us to disengage, the idea was to get rid of General Acheampong and the handover. And I'm saying that of the original commanders, I was chief of staff at the time.
Okay.
Akufo was the chief of defense staff, head of the army. I was his immediate principal staff officer. And we had General Boache, Air Vice Marshal Boache, commander of the Air Force, Amedume, commander of the Navy, Utuka, border guards, Kote, the army. And well, that's how it went. But today, sadly, and sadly again, they are all no more. I'm the only surviving member who knows exactly what happened. But the actual day of the removal of General Acheampong, that's where others were there.
Okay.
And there was no force at all. Once you got to know the military wanted him to step down, he readily agreed to step down and sign a letter of resignation. And over, it was about 1 o'clock. It didn't take more than 20 minutes. It was all over. A very civilized way of changing. No fire was shot. No gun was shot. The idea was not to hurt. You want to have a very civilized. We have been very civilized people in Ghana here. We have been lucky that we haven't had any real chaos in this country.
What a life story. Stay tuned. We're going to come back and look at the General's philanthropic side. Don't move. Thank you very much for staying, and you are learning history. And we're going to look at the General's philanthropic side. In general, you concern yourself a lot with education. I would say you even step on toes or go well beyond your borders to make sure that people have good education. And sometimes these people have no relation to you whatsoever, because it's not like it's in your village or your children or your backyard. It's just a school, and it could be anywhere. And anytime people have sort of come at you, you've said your peace of mind to them to say, listen, this is how I feel, and I am going to give these people. I'm asked why.
Why? I mean, you have to go back several years to my background, how I grew up, and the people that influenced my life, in education especially. At the time I was entering secondary school, no, not at the time that we became independent. Yeah, at the same year, 57. We had very few secondary schools in Ghana. You can count them on your 10 fingers. The Nkrumah made a deliberate effort to boost education. Well, he knew you couldn't build a modern state without intelligent, educated people. was a prerequisite of anything. We developed Ghana. We be a Kosovo dam. It's been run by Ghanaians all this while. If we didn't train them, who will run a Kosovo? Who will fly? Ghanaians were flying Ghana away, jet planes. As long ago as early 60s, Ajari, what's his name? Dokenu and others. So education was critical. Without Nkrumah, I would never have been at school. Because in 1957, I entered school in Winneba. School was terrible. And I remember writing a letter to the Prime Minister, 59, anonymous letter to him, complaining about the school. And Nkrumah, in one move, changed the school.
Wow.
Took over the school and changed it. Now, so education has been critical in my life. And because of my background and the difficulty I had, I didn't want anybody's child to go through the difficulty I went through. And if we are trying to build a modern state called Ghana, we need to educate our people. No child should be left to roam about. Even a fisherman in school will catch fish better. I know you can even farm better if you're educated.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So it's critical to whatever. If a carpenter, you can take angles and do it properly. So that at least you should be able to have a basic education. You have to invest in education. And government alone, we know, we are growing very rapidly in population. You and I can control our children. But most of our people just produce children. And they have no regard for the children, but the state has to have regard for them. If it didn't, they become robbers. They become all kinds of characters, and we will suffer, pay a price for that. I believe that we must devote attention to education. But I know that government alone is unable. I've been going around the country to see the state of some schools, terrible. And when I see them, I remember I went to Sabah in the central region because I went to school there. I have some affection for Sabah.
Yeah.
And the Muslim community came to me and said to me, General, come to our school. Well, they build themselves, trying to train their children, educate them, and see, we have problems, we want to discuss with you. I couldn't go there. I put it up to them and came back the following week and sat up with them at some school built by some German grant, some terrible school. Children couldn't see, but there was no window in the place there. This is not a good place for teaching children. He said, please tell President Mills to build a new school for us. I said, I just come to the Sabah to build a school for a junior high school. The president is tired. This one, you and I, we will build it. He thought I was joking. I came back the following week. Also 5,000 cities began to build the school. He thought I was joking. In 2 months, 3 months, the school was ready.
Wow.
School with computers, with fans, with a wonderful school. Liver Blaze and so on. Very modern. And one of the school children's mother came to say, Mom, Papa, the way you build this school, our children, when they come to school, they won't come back home again. Because the school is like a hotel for them. That's how you want people to go to school and stay there and learn. If children are going to sit on the floor in this grass and learn, that's not good enough. But then we are not a poor country. We have money which we spend watching football, playing football. For Christ's sake, put the money into the people who are our future. So because the best way to teach people to do something is to do it and show them how it can be done. You lead by example. And you serve to lead. That's the motto of Sandhills, serve to lead. So what I'm doing is informed by my past. And what I see, yesterday I was in Mori, yesterday. Today I lost I'm so tired, but I cannot stop. I went to the Ruampong, Apam Junction to Winneba, Apam Junction, you go right. The school, girls dormitory got burned by fire, got gutted by fire. Headmaster came to me. He came to Winneba where I built a wonderful dormitory block, one of the most modern. In Winneba Secondary School, named after me. He had come to my village and help out. I went there and I saw the state. The children were coming back, sleeping in classrooms. My daughter won't come and sleep in the classroom. Why should your daughter, why should his daughter do that? We must have this in our hearts, humanity in us, as a people. You must live for each other.
But so, General, how do you fund these things?
This is you are born with. You see, you cannot learn.
Talking about funding, where do you get money from? I mean,
Where do you get money from? It's amazing. The money government is spending, please, half of it is wasted. You don't need that kind of money. If I on my own, with a few help by friends like you, somebody see what I'm General, take 10,000 cities for what you are doing for mankind. some institutions, national lotteries, they all help. I'm not taking the money to my home. The children where I build the schools for are not from my home. I don't have children. Orally, where I made my famous statement.
If you can't stand the
Should I say
kitchen,
the famous
walk
notorious
out.
statement?
If you can't stand the heat, walk
Of
out.
course, you get out. But the problem is that I feel for these children. Orally, one day, in fact,
General, let me interrupt. Did it
Yes.
cost you your job, that statement?
no. In fact, I prepared to tough it in. It didn't cost much. In fact, I showed how durable I am. You can't go to science and not be tough. That's where Winston Churchill trained. He was a tough man. That's why he trained people like Field Marshal Montgomery, Field Marshal Slim. He trained tough people. So you must be prepared to toughen it up. And I'm prepared to toughen it up. Because what I said, I will say it again and live by it. This country belongs to us. I have sacrificed a lot for Ghana. Today, I'm going to Vice President's hometown in Mori. Go and see what I'm doing right now. Can call the headmaster there. Headmaster has a school there. He stays in Agona Sodru, 2 hours driving to school and back. How do you look after the girls who are staying there? How do you see? If your girl, your daughter, my daughter is there, I wouldn't say my daughter. Why should you send your daughter there? So we should not live in Accra like in Eiffel Towers. There are land cruisers, as if with air conditioning on. There are others too who need small things to make life better for them. If we don't do that, we are at risk. The Nima boys, who are still, we said they are what? They are whatever they are. If we don't make them better, they will come and haunt us in the future. They will. So I'm doing it out of my love for mankind. As a Christian.
Yeah.
If you see the way I live, you will wonder why I do this thing. Because or the food I eat, I'm a very simple person. The money I waste, I'll put the money to somebody's daughter. Today I'm paying so many people's school fees. Many they come to me, many of them at the university, in secondary schools. All my salaries I used to do. When tomorrow I'm gone, am I taking the money with me? No, I'm not. So I'm doing this to tell Ghanaians that life is not about buying big house, nice car. There's more to it than leave a name behind you. Tomorrow, a block has been named after you in the Mensa house in Winneba Secondary School to be there for years to come. You leave a legacy.
Yeah.
So rather than marry many women or buy big cars, it doesn't mean anything. Take someone's daughter, someone's son, and look after the son. In Orally, one day, I want to build this. I had to wake up 3 o'clock, cook for the workers, get there by 5 o'clock.
Cook yourself?
Of course, I cook. I cook all the way. I feed them. I eat with them at the site. That's one thing which we don't do. The worker must be look at like your son, and then he will give you the best performance. I cook for them their lunch, their breakfast, lunch, as well as their dinner, and pack the ice chest and carry it to my car and take it to them. That's why in 50 days I built and finished a 9-classroom block. In 50 days.
Wow.
In 50 days, not less than 2 months. Government one takes a year, 2 years. They don't finish. The determination is the drive.
May I ask how much it costs to build a 9-classroom?
I've never bothered to find out. I take my money, whatever is left, I take it, I go and spend it. I am lucky that I get a salary working for the government. I'm also on pension. That pension goes into what I'm doing.
Wow. And
I get help from others. But the beauty is that I'm not doing it. And I get, look, one day some 2 little girls came to me after I was living in Raleigh in a dish. And they came to me with a bag. There was a bottle of wine and a big card. And they just said to me, "Granddad, we have come to say thank you for giving us a future. Giving you a future." I don't know them. These little girls came to me. Tomorrow, they will never forget what I did for them all their lives. And I've left a legacy behind. That's why we are in this world. Not to just live, drink, and go. No, it's not. It's more than that. Ghana is what you see today because of people like Nkrumah and others. They pay their due. You and I should pay our due as well. And I think that's what I demand of all of us. So when I made that famous statement, people don't understand me. My life has changed. I don't sleep more than 3 hours. The body, the brain, everything has changed. If you can change your body, I wake up and I'm thinking about the school. So I go down.
How about Mrs. Nuno Mensah? Doesn't she say, look, this is money that we could have been going on holiday trips with, and there's you building schools for Raleigh and Mori. But let us go on holiday trips.
Poor woman. I'm a very stubborn person. I am very stubborn. If what I'm doing, I believe the right thing, no matter, I'll do it. Let me tell you a story. Late President Mills, may he rest in peace. In 2010, I was going to India to attend anniversary. I was training for 1 year. A beautiful school in India, New Delhi. And I bought a ticket. I bought economic class ticket. Well, I couldn't pay for the business or the first class. Somebody told him that I'm going to buy a ticket. Everybody travel by business. Everybody think it's somebody. Everybody. People are, even my grandchildren are in government also traveling by business class. But there are needs in Ghana here. We need the money to build schools. Why go and waste the money? We can go back by economy. So what? So you should what? Because what? You are somebody. I'm somebody. Already. I don't have to show you who I am by going to business class, going to first class. It doesn't mean anything. So President Melku, when they called me, you know, I sat down. In the march, they required which I got to economic tickets. Corner Casas, I go and change it. And I was the president. Yoism. It's tough. He said, why? I said, oh, I'm building a school. I need the money. The difference was about $7,000. As of today, it's more than 20 something thousand. I can build a 3-bedroom house. Even today, challenge me with that money for you. In 3 weeks, you come and get the key from me. Why should I go and sit somewhere, stretch my legs and get a bottle of wine? Somebody come and put a napkin around my neck and charge me $7,000 for that? No way. President General. The school, I'll build it for you. In Soko. I was still stubborn. I asked Mr. President, get 10 or in for where the money? I need the money now to go and build the school. Then he laughed. Then he said to me, General, not everybody is like you. I know very well. This savings is important. Look, 7,000, we are traveling every day. That money, if I get the money, I will change our lives. I am telling you. You don't need too much money. These workers, I built this school. Look, I went to the Urampong. Go there. The guy dormitory got bent out. Everybody came to me. The general, come and see what you can do for. I went there. And then I said, look, I cannot rebuild the bent out classroom, dormitory. It's a nearby building by Get Fund. We abandoned because we haven't paid the contractor. It's a double story. So downstairs, I could do it. 5 large rooms. I took a measurement, I came back, bought all the materials. Everything, like everything. Paint and bugger-proofing, doors, locks, everything, hinges. I went there in 5 days. When I saw this building, you couldn't believe it. Headmaster couldn't believe it. Today, 160 girls are sleeping where they didn't have accommodation. In 5 days, I get an accommodation with light, everything. You won't believe this.
Wow.
So what are we saying? What are we saying? We don't have enough guts in us. I am telling you. What I'm doing is to demonstrate to the young people that nothing you cannot do. If a fisherman's son can become chief of defense 2 times, then nobody can say that only heaven is too far away.
General, you are part of government, being part of government, and most of these things, maybe government could have done better. May I ask if you advise in the back door and they don't listen in the open, or?
No, I must admit that my life is very rough. I mean, you have to be tough. People find it uncomfortable. Because, look, I'm very tough, very rough. A cousin of mine used to live, Accra girl, just Jolu, knows the all bush from Kokomeme, bush everywhere. I used to work in the 50s, early 50s. A carpenter in Elang is near Graphic. Elang company. We used to walk 4 a.m., walk from there to Accra and walk back. From there. Through Kokomeme, through, what do you call it? All the way down to Nkrumah Circle and walk back. So, my generation, we are not ordinary people. I'm telling you. The young people today find me burden, find me excellent, find me really a bore. But you cannot build Ghana without sacrifice.
General, going back on your sacrifice, going back on your principles, somebody who won't fly business class because of your principles, and I admire it. I'm one person who find that we have too many Toyota Land Cruisers within government, and it's obscene because of the price or the cost involved. We could definitely travel much cheaper, considering that dormitories are burning down and classrooms are not being built. We could have saved that cost. And everything you are saying, expresses what I believe in, that listen, you can definitely cut the cost and still, achieve your goal.
Life.
However, we don't see it within government, and you're part of government.
This problem has been with us for a very long time. After Nkrumah was the most humble, one of the most humble. I'm telling you. Before I answer the question, in 1965, I was in London when he came for a conference. I was there. He stayed with the High Commissioner, Mr. Kosiama, in one bedroom. I was there. Today, we hire a hotel and waste our money. But the money to build Ghana for you, and that's why today we are living here. If I had spent the money the way we are spent today, we wouldn't be sitting down here. But when you talk to people, young people, they won't change. I mean, I've started fighting this way a long time. For a long time. I didn't tell you all the Champon story because some of them they will take the whole day if I'm going to go into them. But I've been vocal, but people wouldn't listen, and I've been punished for being vocal. But that doesn't stop. I keep on being vocal because I know that we will end up in some disaster if we didn't change. Now, what I'm doing today, all that I'm saying, I've said it, but nobody takes me serious, so I'm doing them. You don't take me serious, but I'm doing them anyway. Why do you go and buy a big Land Cruiser and waste a lot of money when you can buy a cheaper car? Why? When are people sleeping rough on the street? People are sleeping on the street. Can't you see them sleeping on the street? Why do I have to live in total comfort with air conditioning? I don't sleep with air conditioning. You're not even a fan. So when I tell people to do what I'm doing, they can't do it. You have to be very rough. You see when I say rough? Sleep in the bush, walk in the bush without shoes. They become very tough. Many of them, they think this man is living is centuries behind time. I should be living in the 15th, 17th century, Napoleon's time, or Duke of Wellington, whatever. So we must, as a people, you go to IMF, you don't have money, you see this falling, and you are living in Land Cruiser, you have Land Cruiser around, you tell they should have sympathy for you. No. Why should they? If you come to me for money, and then you go and drink appetition when I'm eating kenke, I should give you money again. You are living like you are Arab sheikh. Did I give you money? When I am eating kenke, then the money I say, I give it to you to go and be drinking beer. No, I won't do it.
Were you hard on your children with principles like this? Because maybe Nike shoes have come on and you say, no, you're not buying Nike shoes. You're just going to buy any shoes and go to work. Or were you a bit flexible with them?
My second son, for him, he always wore old clothes. The shoes he wore, he's older by the one. When he got angry, he said, even I'm wearing old shoes. I don't have any new shoes. But the shoes is Clark's. It's still good. Why can't you wear it? No, you must learn to be more modest, more thoughtful in how we spend our money. My first son, he's a surgeon, very good surgeon. You won't spend £1. He was in a boarding school in Britain in the 83 when I was in Britain. He used to have £10 in his pocket. It goes to secondary school. The whole term, £10. You are fed. You have got toothpaste. You got everything. Okay, £10 for any emergency. Today he knows how to spend money. If I had the money, I won't give it to you. I wouldn't give it to him. I want you to smell life and appreciate life. That you got to sweat to earn money. No, you don't. So if nobody wants to work, everybody is there trying to make money without cheating everybody. We all try to break each other's leg to make money from him. We all become criminals, become crooks. Rather than working for genuine money, we are not. Today, the corruption everywhere. Corruption at everywhere. Is it GIDA? Is it National Service? Corruption everywhere. And that's indictment of all of us. It's terrible. That didn't start today. It's been going on for a very long time. So as a people, we need to change. We need a moral change. Because you have today, I don't believe anybody. And that's a person. Did you see or didn't see it? You won't. I said yes or no. Did you see it? You won't say no. Didn't you see it? You won't say it. You can't say simple truth. What's the problem?
The absence of truth.
So we have a big problem in this country. of integrity from the top all the way down. And tomatoes in my house. If you go to my house, go in there. I saw a young woman with a tree picking the tomatoes. From upstairs. I said, why are you picking the tomatoes? I mean, it didn't belong to you. In my time, it didn't happen. So we have a problem in this country. And we must sit down. Otherwise, we might perish. I am telling you.
On that note, let us change or we perish. I told you that, there wouldn't be enough time to hear General's story, but I was going to do my best. Who knows, maybe I'll break protocol and just come and do the Achampon side of history. Just a whole episode on the Achampon side of history, because I believe that Achampon has been denied or dealt very hard blow in our history in this country, and maybe we'll do a part 2. We asked General, so stay tuned for the part 2. But folks, until I come back to you with a different personality, have a beautiful week, and I know you enjoyed it. Thank you.